Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, I am here with George Francis and FightersRep matchmaker Jesse Brown. Say hello.
What's up, Ivan?
So FightersRep 9 was yesterday. What did you guys think about the show?
That was excellent. Sold out show. Biggest show we've ever had. I think we had the most competitive matches we've ever had. What did we have, 15?
We had 15 fights.
Probably the most high quality, competitors we could find in the area, including some from up north. Excellent. And overall, I think it's important to know right off the bat, we had the largest number of entries or people who wanted to fight that we've ever had. It was easily over 150 people, probably much higher if you counted all the months that we were matching.
That is pretty crazy. Like Jesse's saying, man, over 150 people signed up to fight. We did have a long hiatus because I didn't want to do, we didn't want to do an event during the holidays because we don't want the fighters to hate us, you know what I mean? But, now we're going to have this 2.5 to 3 month break between events this year. I think it's just the right amount of time to put events together. But about FightersRep 9, I thought it was awesome, man. Our first Pro-Am, the first time we ever had pros on the card, and they really performed. I mean, Kiachan versus Workin was an awesome fight, and Garcia versus Milton Arguello was a really, really good fight too, man. It was the main event, and I thought it was, one of the most exciting fights of the evening. And with John Garcia getting the caveman getting the finish. But man, I gotta say, Milton Arguello showed so much heart, and I already watched the fight back on the live stream, and I feel like he's probably gonna watch that fight and say to himself exactly what Blake Troop was saying on the broadcast, which is, if he would have just kind of stood in the pocket or moved forward, he might have had more success there. So I think he grew a lot in that fight, despite coming out on the losing end, and John Garcia just looked. The guy just looked incredible, man. Incredible. I think, there were so many highlights throughout the night for me, especially kids who have improved so significantly, right? And a couple guys that come to mind are Gabe Silva, who looked, completely different than he looked for us the last time he fought for us, which was, that was less than a year ago.
Less than a year ago, yeah. And also Christian O'Brien, who's now on a 3-fight win streak.
Yep.
Handsome devil. He looks unbelievably different than he did. He had his first fight for us, and he lost the decision. Since then, he's had 3 wins, and you can see him developing every time he steps in there.
He's a beast, man. And back to Silva real quick. I mean, and we're gonna have to touch on O'Brien about this too. But the kid Silva fought Christian Williams. I mean, Christian probably beats anybody in that division, other than the Gabe Silva that showed up yesterday. And I'm not sure if the Gabe Silva that showed up yesterday is going to be the Gabe Silva that will continue to show up and improve. Perhaps it is, because I mean, really, he just looked so far improved from when I saw him last time, and I heard he was getting better. But man, that was a shocker for me, because Christian Williams is a really tough kid who I think has a lot of potential to continue to do fantastic things in the sport. But Gabe Silva just, he leveled up last night for those 2 titles. Like, he really stepped up to the occasion. And then, again, Christian O'Brien fought an undefeated in combat sports, Galdino Ibarra. Yeah. And at 2 points in that fight, he had him hurt. And I thought he was actually going to finish the fight. And Galdino is another fantastic talent too, But for Christian O'Brien to perform the way he did at his age, I mean, he's a kid.
Yeah, very young.
He's a kid who, again, like Jesse said, lost his first fight with us, and has just rattled off a couple wins and just continues to exponentially improve,
So who'd you guys think won performance of the night and fight of the night?
I'll let Jesse go first, because that's tough.
You guys could have
That's
different
tough,
opinions.
I think fight of the night was Garcia and Arguello. That was just from start to finish. The pace of that fight. I don't think most people realize how hard it is to keep that pace for that long. 3 3-minute rounds like that. Garcia was going for the entire time.
Yeah, he was like the Terminator out there.
Not only was he moving forward the entire time, he was throwing 3, 4, 5, 6 strike combos repeatedly over and over and over, implementing punches and kicks. That's incredibly difficult, and it's also very difficult for Arguello to be as defensive as he was. He did have a lot of success evading him, in the early rounds. It didn't go his way eventually, but so I think that would be fight of the night.
Do you agree, George?
I thought that was definitely one of the fights of the night. I thought Danny Lozano from Systems Training Center, when he fought David Yagazarian, it was the second fight of the night. You said second fight of the night? I don't remember now. It's 15 fights, but Danny Lozano and David Yagazarian put on a hell of a fight. So I thought that was one of the fights of the night. I would also think that that Milton Arguello, and not just because it was the main event, but just because it was an awesome fight. John Garcia and Milton Arguello was awesome. At points, they were exchanging, and I mean, I was sitting ringside, obviously, right in front of me, they were exchanging vicious blows, and I was like, man, this is a pace, man. This is intense right here. And so, I mean, I could see that being fight of the night. I actually thought, though, that the finish of the night would have been John Garcia's in that fight, because he kept going at those legs, and eventually he chopped Milton down. But again, to Milton's credit, man, what a tough SOB Milton is, man.
Yeah, agreed.
What was the other one you asked me about?
That was fight of the night, and what about performance?
We could probably give him performance of the night.
Maybe, but
then fight of the night to Lozano, right?
Yeah, well, I was thinking performance might be Silva.
Okay.
I thought Silva stepped up, but obviously everybody will have a different opinion. We'll come to a consensus at some point.
To be determined.
Yeah, but I thought, but I thought Silva was, as far as his performance, obviously John's as well. But Silva, I felt like he was very tightly matched with Christian Williams. I actually thought Christian was a more physical fighter.
Yeah.
Silva being the more, technical, but I felt like Christian, the more physical, and you can see it. I mean, his shoulders are this big. He's a very strong kid, and he connected a couple times at the beginning of that fight, and looked like he got Silva's attention a couple times in that fight, but then Silva just figured him out, and looked really good.
So what did you guys think about the first ever FightersRep pro fight, Ethan versus Anthony?
You want to go first?
Sure. I think that was a masterclass of technique. I think both fighters really, although it was a kickboxing fight, they both have a very traditional Thai style of fighting, Muay Thai style of fighting. It was very tit for tat. Neither one at any point, maybe towards the end of the fight, but I think in the first 2 rounds, it was just back and forth, like almost like they were taking turns. Eventually, Ethan, I think, started to pull away, and I think that's primarily due to the body kick. He was catching Larkin right underneath the elbow pretty frequently, and those definitely start to add up. But I think that was an extremely evenly matched fight. I think that could have gone either way on any given night, depending on what version of themselves show up. I thought that was great.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a good fight too. I mean, I did think Ethan's kicks kind of separated him in that fight and gave him the win. I thought Workin, when he was throwing his hands, was having some success, but I felt like he became hesitant because, man, Ethan's legs are just like so strong, and he kept throwing that kick to the body, and I just felt like it was a deterrent for Workin. But I thought it was a good fight, and really excited to get this first pro card done, man. I thought it was
a big sigh of relief when they first called out that first pro fight. Watched them walk out, they stepped in the ring, bell rings, the fight starts, and that was a huge accomplishment for FightersRep. That first pro fight was a long time coming. We talked about that a year in advance, and we built up to the point where we thought the show could handle that, or at least our capabilities and resources. So when it happened, we were happy.
And I mean, huge shout out to all the teams that participated, to all the fighters that participated, you know, I say it till I'm blue in the face. This is the mecca of combat sports. We got the best camps in the world. Not because it's us, because we're just in the right place at the right time. You know, these camps are fantastic. These fighters are talented. And big shout out to the fans, man. That place was mobbed last night. I mean, we actually had to turn people away at the door because so many people wanted to come watch, you know, Fighters Rep 9. It's a real honor to have that kind of turnout, man. That was really nice. And obviously not just for us, but for the fighters to be able to showcase their skills in front of all those people. That's very important, you know. Because I mean, there had to be some nervousness, man, fighting in front of all those people screaming like that. You know, people like Milton Arguello and Anthony Dworkin, and I mean, a lot of the people had huge clusters of support, huge crowds that were there for it.
And also the way it was set up, the fighters walk out through the VIP section, they enter the ring, and when they look forward towards the entrance of the building, is just a mass of people. That's where I'd say 80% of the people were sitting. That can be intimidating for anybody. A lot of people.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. So, Fighters Rep 10, May 29th, but for now, man, we need a break. That was rough, bro.
But where do you guys see this, Fighters Rep going, you know, from here, first pro card? Where do you guys see it going from here?
I liked it. I liked the experience of having pros on the show. I want to continue to do Pro-Am cards. I think to do an exclusively pro show, maybe in the future at some point, but I think it's really important to continue to build the Amis because, you know, where are you going to get the pros from if there are no Amis? And, you know, it makes sense to have that sort of farming system for us, you know, where we can build these Amis. And also, you know, let's be honest, I mean, how many shows are doing unified rules kickboxing? You know, a lot of these shows are doing Muay Thai, or they're doing a mix of rule sets. You know, we're the only one, as far as I know, that's doing exclusively unified rules kickboxing and that has a pro license. And we have to build the sport. You know, we have to continue to build the sport. Without building the Amis, you can't build the sport. You know, so. And also, without having pro fights, I didn't believe you could continue to build the sport. That's part of the reason that we decided to do pro fights, because it can't just stay Ami forever. It's going to stagnate, right? So I was very happy with it, man. I thought it was awesome. I feel like, you know, the fighters were happy with it. The commission was happy. So I mean, everybody's happy.
Any final thoughts? Shout outs?
Shout out to, you know, the whole Fighters Rep staff, Jesse, Ivan, man, thank you for your help. You know, you're doing all the social media stuff. Just shout out to all the camps, man, the commission, the fighters, and most importantly, the fans, the people that tune in and watch. We had something like, I think it was over 8,000 playbacks, according to Vahan, immediately after the live stream. So that's something I'm really proud of. Jesse.
Not much from me. My job is pretty straightforward. I'm matching. So, you know, thank you to all the fighters, the coaches, all the teams I've worked with over the past few months. How flexible they all were, understanding the communication is key, and I think I worked with a lot of great people. And I'm really grateful every event that goes by. My network expands and it helps grow the show.
People either.
And shout out to all our sponsors, man. Shout out to all our sponsors. They were incredible. They helped us do this. You know, without them, you know, you can see all of them in the link below. Be sure to click them and pay them a visit. You know, Ali Optimal Wellness, Nueva Real Estate, Mariscos El Gordo, Mongo. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Mongo Muay Thai. You know, big shout out to them. Cali Distillery. You know, big shout out to all our sponsors, all the vendors that were there. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. And the hybrid boost also for the ring girls. That was pretty cool. And did I miss any, Ivan?
Drinkbird.
Joybird.
Oh, fuck.
Well, big shout out to Joybird, of course. You know,
they're more than a sponsor at this
yeah,
point.
no. Well, the thing is, they're also going to be coming out with this thing called, I think, very soon, called Foxhound, which is going to be like a pre-workout, post-workout, and hydration, which is what Joybird does. It's supposed to be like a hydrating drink. which is fantastic. They provided us a bunch at the weigh-in, but they're going to be coming out like rebranding as Foxhound, and I think we'll continue to work with them too. But thanks for reminding me of that, because I'm tired. I need to take a nap.
All right, guys. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
man.